we've seen some dumb. We've seen a lot of dumb lately, and few things are dumber than this kind of dumb. And we missed this the other day when Mike Lindell spoke at the Trump rally, and it's not very long. So I figured let's catch up with old Mike Pillow and see what he's been up to lately. See where he's definitely in all of these courts all over the country. They're better off than they were on the day before the election. He's made ground. Like, God has obviously allowed all this massive fraud to happen so that it could be discovered in his divine plan. And he sent his perfect agent of divinity, Mike Lindell, to solve this for us and figure it all out, because it needs a keen, well, crack's not the word I would use, a keen mind. Obviously, crack is a theme, too, in this situation. Wait a minute, hold on. Wake back up. What happened here? Oh shit, he's taking Trump's game and throwing hats. That's I hope Trump doesn't find out. Could be jealous. Just in case you thought for a second that this wasn't about selling shit. Look at the promo code L66666. Use the RSB. Yeah, 66%. That's weird. Like, I catch shit sometimes for the joke about 666 Fifth Avenue and $6.66 super chats. But they, you wouldn't think they'd like 50%, 70%, 77% off. That's a Jesus-y sounding number, right?
Hello, everybody.
Hi. Hello. Hi.
You guys are awesome. I hope I met y'all. We had fun earlier.
Yes, by the way, they open all the Trump rallies with a big goo orgy. They just lay my pillows all over the place, and everybody just wallows around.
I want to tell you, in this short 5 minutes, I want to tell you that the 2020 election.
Oh, no. 5 minutes is 5 minutes. It's only short or long based on the content. Actually, it's a long 5 minutes. It's going to be a long 5 minutes.
Will go down in history as the most important election ever. And I'm going to tell you why.
Wait a minute. 2020 or this one? Hold on.
You guys are awesome. I hope I met y'all.
Awesome.
We had fun earlier. I want to tell you, in this short 5 minutes, I want to tell you that the 2020 election will go down in history as the most important election ever. And I'm going to...
No. Not really. I first of all, just in American elections, that doesn't mean anything. And also, if you're gonna broaden the scope out to elections that went poorly and caused horribleness, there's a lot of other elections to choose from in other countries, much less ours.
I'll tell you why. In 2012, I did my first infomercial in 2011. I was living in my sister's basement, and I had like 10 employees. 40 days later, after the infomercial launched, I had 500 employees, took in $100 million in 6 months. I woke
and smoked it all.
One day, though, and I was $6 million in debt at the end of that. And I said, I was devastated. I said, God, what happened? What did I do wrong? And I looked back after the next 2 years of digging out, and I'm telling you, I learned from 2012. I learned how there was corruption, there was mistakes made, people I trusted, that my handshake was my word. And I learned from that and moved on and fixed everything that from the 2012. And then I would not have sold 75 million my pillows, and have 27.
Yeah, don't forget to name check the product.
100 employees if 2012 hadn't happened. So I'm telling you.
Yes. If and by the way, a company that size being $6 million in debt with 500 employees on a startup, $6 million is not a lot of fucking money to make up. As a matter of fact, if your startup is growing that fast, that's a reasonable amount of debt to take on. Even, I mean, if he'd lost $6 million and he was in the hole past that point, but I don't know what the fuck, whatever. Anyways, this is just a sales pitch. Like, he does this like everywhere.
With the 2020 election, I look at where God's had his hand in all of this. If they would have overturned.
Yeah, he totally did. God has clearly, Mike Lindell, God has his hand in all of this.
Moon River. Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
Right away with all the corruption that came out and the fraud and the machines and everything else, what they did.
Yes, you mean Trump and his entire campaign and all the fraud.
If they would have flipped it back right away to our great president, Donald Trump, we would have never learned about all the corruption,
I love this argument. If there hadn't been corruption, we wouldn't know there was corruption. It wouldn't be corruption then.
We wouldn't have learned about the cyber and the.
If I had not been attacked and nearly killed, I wouldn't have known that I needed to learn to defend myself against something that statistically wouldn't happen again.
Machines to be gone, and we wouldn't have learned about politics in general. It woke us all up. Now we have great candidates.
Yeah, I mean, you guys don't know anything about politics. I don't know anything about politics. Did anybody give a fuck about politics until Trump lost? Oh, right. All of us that made sure Trump lost by voting and motivating people.
We'll end up having the people's back that we're going to get in office. And, but I want to tell you why these rallies are so important.
Because it's a fundraiser for you. You sell a lot of pillows, and Trump has his little pack that he makes money off of. And if he doesn't make money from that, his businesses will collapse. Oh, no, sorry, Jesus, go ahead.
January 7th, a year ago, they tried to cancel our voice forever. That was the day, not just when they took our great president's Twitter away, 1.2 million people, mostly in the United States, canceled their platforms on Vimeo and YouTube, crooked YouTube, and Google and Suckabuck's Facebook, and all these platforms.
Yeah, never pass up an opportunity for an anti-Semitic insult. I mean, they might seem commonplace after a while, and you might get used to using them, but this is a new audience, and they might have not heard you call a Jewish person suckabuck. The inference, the implication being that Jews hoover up money, and that's all that matters. So, also, mostly in the United States? The fuck was that?
Well, we know the Suckabuck, well, we learned what he did, too, to steal our election.
Oh, so two Suckabucks. There you go.
They'll all be going to prison. They're all going to be going to prison, trust me.
No, they're not. Jeff Zuckerberg is not going to fucking jail. No, they're not going. I don't know what kind of QAnon bullshit this is, but woo! Yeah, they're all going to lock someone up. Lock someone up.
I said it before. We're going to melt down these machines and make prison bars out of them.
They're plastic. The machines are largely, that's like, and by the way, if you're going to, apparently that's so what? Trump can break out of jail even with his weak arm strength?
But what happened that day, they took our voice away. And I know myself and a lot of you all.
They took our voice away. I mean, we only have Gab, Getter, Parler, Telegram. Most of us still have YouTube channels. Most of us still have Twitch channels. Most of us still have Twitter handles. Like, obviously, Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro and all these people managed to keep their shit. And then, of course, they've got all those outlets And he's got Lindell TV and Frank Speech twice, and now there's Truth Social, which you might have a point with people losing their voice on Truth Social, but that's more about atrophy. It's like your foot falling asleep. It's not somebody amputating your foot against your will. You just sat on it wrong.
There that had platforms, the media just kept attacking and attacking every day. When I was just in Colorado and I did a speech there at the Capitol.
Did you run into McIsaac? You did a speech at the Capitol.
All the media showed up there around me. I call them the bad media because the good media, they're gone. They went Fox on us. They never talk. They're horrible, okay? They don't talk.
Wait a minute. So the bad media showed up, but the good media didn't even show up, and that makes them worse than fucking hell. Is there, at a certain point, do you ever wake up and go, I see enemies everywhere I look? I was just talking to Ethan Summers' kid about the movie I Am Legend because of Will Smith, and it came up in conversation. And I have a real problem with that movie because of the original story it's based on, and then, you know, the movie The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price and The Omega Man with Charlton Heston was based on the principle of this, and I Am Legend was the third iteration of it. And the story, if you don't know, is it starts off with this guy who's, humanity's been wiped out by these vampire zombies, essentially. And they come at night and they kill you. And he rigs his place. He's the last man on Earth. So he's rigged his house with lights and all kinds of stuff, and he can shoot them and yada, yada. And during the day, he goes out and basically wipes them out so that humanity will make a comeback, because he just assumes there are other people out there. And so he's going to go around and kill them. So he kills them in their sleep. And, no matter what the age of these monsters are, he kills them while they're sleeping. And then eventually they all break through his defenses, gather him up, and they hang him. They crucify him. They kill him. And he realizes at that moment that they are actually the majority of life on Earth. And he's a monster that they tell their children about. He's the boogeyman. He saw them all as the boogeyman, and he realizes while he's dying that he's what they use to scare their children into behaving, when they go to sleep. He says, I am legend. That he's talking about himself. And it's that part of the story is completely out the fucking window in the movie I Am Legend. They don't even bother with that idea. What makes that story special is the fact that this guy realizes he's now the monster. He's in such a minority that he's basically a serial killer. He's a boogeyman. And it's a great, as short stories go and as concepts go, it's a nice flip. It's it's like a Twilight Zone episode. But in the Will Smith version, he's just looking for a cure, and there are other living people, and then he's got to kill these things, and he's got to turn them back human again. He's not going to kill them off. He's going to make them human again. And then he figures it out, and in the happy ending version, he figures it out and gives it to the girl, and then he dies saving them, which is weird. Anyways, so that story, like, the greatness of that story is the recognition that maybe if you're like, I'm surrounded by monsters everywhere I look, that maybe you're the monster is the thought. Maybe you should look at yourself. Maybe you should introspectively go, everywhere I look, I see villains. Maybe I'm the villain then, because those people don't seem to be fighting each other the way I'm fighting them. So it's a cool story. That's what the fuck is going on with this. Like, this dude, everywhere he looks, people are evil. No one is to be trusted. It's the they, them against. It's the same thing that Jimmy Dore pushes. It's the same thing that Russell Brand pushes. Everybody's villainous except our tiny little group that knows that everybody's a villain. And even then, I'm looking for every possible chance to exclude somebody. Like, oh, you're not pure, so you could be cast out in this kind of like weird Amish, the village kind of, shunting people.
About elections, I call it, don't go Fox on me. Well, I sat there.
Yeah, we know the Fox thing. Don't go Fox. Because they won't run his Dominion story because they don't want to. They're getting sued for $1 billion because of this asshole.
I sat there, and all the bad media's in front of me. You had all your journalists there, and I said, "You guys, I want to apologize for using you for the last year that you have attacked me and many others every day, but we've used you to get our word out." And I said,
"Yeah, it's worked so well." Yes, I don't know. I've been playing 3D checkers with you guys, and this is me kinging you.
I want to apologize for using you. You got our word out that this election was the biggest crime in history. And I said, and then I told him, and I said,
yeah, which no one believes. Like, even in this crowd, you got probably 80-20. The dude in the Reagan Bush shirt is like, well, I don't know.
I don't need you anymore. We don't need you because now we're doing these rallies. Yeah. People are getting the word out of fixing 2020 first, getting the candidates picked that are going to have the people's back. And I will tell you that you guys right now, and new platforms coming up.
No, I'm with you. Keep talking. What?
I want to put it out. You go to frankspeech.com. You have RSBN here that's been behind you. You have the President's New Truth Social. We have different places.
Yeah. Go to Truth Social. Please, everyone go there.
To get our word out. We can still use Suckabuck's platform and stuff to pull people over. But what I'm...
Ouch. Wait a minute. Look, right down here, I don't know if you see it, it says Trump's net worth jumped $600 million after leaving office, now worth $3 billion. Wait, first Mike Lindell comes out chucking hats and stealing Trump's thunder, and now they admit that Trump, I guess, was only worth $2.6 billion. That's just the worth of his properties, I suppose. And his net worth jumped $600 million. That's all just donations. It's not like his properties picked up or his brand is improved. That's $600 million is literally just the shit he's taken in with this Save America flim flam.
We need to communicate and keep getting those.
Yes. And Sonic Fear says, didn't Trump claim he was worth $10 billion? Yes. And he ain't. He's not even worth $3 billion. That's bullshit too. Like, all this money is spent. The $300 million he made from November to January.
Getting the word out. Right now, there's great things going on that you don't hear about. We're doing stuff.
Yeah, that's why we don't need the news. We don't need you journalists anymore because there are great things you guys aren't hearing about. All right.
Next week, we're doing preliminary injunctions starting with 8 states, starting with the state of Arizona. And the preliminary injunctions are to get machines out of our elections once and for all. Computers.
No computers. We're going to go to the Iraqi system, purple fingertips and paper boxes. A preliminary injunction to get rid of voting machines. I'm certain that will work. P.S. All the new machines, including the ones that were used in 2020, all have a paper trail. They all use paper ballots. You fill out an actual paper one, it goes into an envelope, and they match it later. That's why the recounts and all that stuff were so fucking fast and easy. That's why the contrived one they did in Arizona was so belabored and full of shit, because they had all the paper.
And I want to say one last thing. Thing. You guys, this has all been on God's timing. We wouldn't have learned all this, and this all wouldn't have happened when we get through.
Yes, this is all in God's timing. You know how it says in the Bible that He created the earth in 7 days, but that's in the Hebrew it was originally yoms, which is like a span of time, which can be anything from 24 hours or 10 minutes to billions of years. And God bats His eye and 100 million years pass. It's on God's time. So Trump will be president again in the year 1371 AD, Adu Domine.
Just the other day, there's a poll came out. Do you know 35% of Democrats, I'm talking
35%. He's going full Sylvester on it.
We wouldn't have learned all this, and when this all wouldn't have happened, when we get through this, just the other day, there's a poll came out. Do you know 35% of Democrats?
Holy shit. That was amazing. That's like on the level. That was, hold on. Do you know that?
God's timing, we wouldn't have learned all this, and when this all wouldn't have happened, when we get through this, just the other day, there's a poll came out. Do you know 35% of Democrats, I'm talking
35% of Democrats came out. And this is not true. By the way, this is horse shit.
The people now believe 100% this election was stolen, okay?
35% believe 100% this election was stole. I'm guessing the wording on 35% of those people thought it was stole. No, they fucking well didn't. But there's a little bit of like Sex Panther to that. 60% of the time, it works all the time.
So what's happening, all these bad things that you see happening, they're kind of meant to be because people are waking up. It's waking people up.
Yeah.
And they're looking for...
Absolutely. Yeah. Your alarm in the morning isn't a lovely sound. I mean, you might think you can use one of those light lamps that slowly imitates sunrise and helps you keep your circadian rhythm. And maybe you could set up a song on your alarm instead of using an old ringing bell. You know, you could use something like that, but now you could set it to a song that slowly but surely grows over time. You know, God likes the old-fashioned alarm clock. God loves the old-fashioned, let's see. I'm sure there's a, what do we got? Good morning. Sorry.
And that's why I'm telling you, we are in the, God gave us grace for one reason. We are in the greatest revival for our great Lord Jesus Christ in history. Thank you all. God bless you.
Oh, you lazy fuck. You don't get to use Jesus as a fucking punchline on your way off the stage, you prick. That is, by the way, that is what it means to take the Lord's name in vain. That's his walk-off word. That's his walk-off music. Just say Jesus Christ, we're doing this for Jesus, and then walk off, hey, guaranteeing yourself a round of applause. Fuck you. Ugh. Speak to him moistly. Look at how lazy this is.
We are in the, God gave us grace for one reason. We are in the greatest revival for our great Lord Jesus Christ in history. Thank you all. God bless you.
Fuck, what a prick. Hey. Oh, Jesus. It's just so lazy. I'm shocked he didn't, since he threw the hats on when he came on, I'm surprised he didn't walk off to Hang On, I'm Coming or YMCA. Yeah! Oh, look at that. Oh, this is the interview that Carrie Lake did with him. Or no, this is the dude, that's the host guy, the regular guy. Ugh.
And how you're really a fan favorite and all these people behind us.
See, that's not Carrie Lake. I'm just saying. Very disappointed.
Love what you represent. You love what you've done for this country.
You know what the people want. They want this selection crime, the biggest crime in history, straightened out. And hey, you know, but it's all the enthusiasm and let's just. I mean, that gets...
It's the enthusiasms.
me, it gives me so much hope, so much, people...
Yeah, the big empty spots in the crowd and the dwindling size of the crowds and the fact that each crowd over the last 6 months has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where Trump's probably not going to do any more rallies unless people can guarantee him a crowd because of other people that are going to be there, and he still won't show up.
Mike, you keep going every day and every day. Well, God gave me a big platform, and I figure it's everybody's platform, to get our voice out. That's why
No, it isn't. I don't have a show on Lindell TV, everybody's platform. Fuck you.
rallies are so important to get our voice out. Keep sharing it. I did a shout out for
Oh my God, they're playing Leader of the Pack.
ESPN today.
We heard it.
And FrankSpeech.com. So they, but these are, we
I can't. Jesus. Wait, and he goes, and FrankSpeech.com, and suddenly his smile goes away.
There's very few platforms anymore to get the voice out. You guys are right there, top of the heap.
If someone has not been...
Yes, that is true. RSBN is, as heaps go, as the news heap goes, they are absolutely the last dangly turd at the top of the shit heap of garbage platforms that Lindell pays for. He pays for all these things. Like it's his ad base right now, since he can't get his ads on regular television anymore because nobody wants to see him. They turn the fucking channel when his ads come on, and so nobody wants to. The other advertisers are like, "Fuck that dude." So he can't get on the. So basically, he's just paying outright for RSBN, Newsmax ads, and his Lindell TV shit, which is nonstop. Like, it's just an ad for the whole thing. I mean, this is actually from Frank's speech, which, by the way, in future, it'll be a good place for us to get. And notice, they're re-airing the RSBN stuff right at the same time. See this? See this graphic? And this one? There's the RSBN logo. They are one and the same right now. They are effectively, and as business choices go, Mike Pillow is a complete moron, but in a sea of morons, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Lindell already has a business structure and people around him who will take advantage of the dipshits that are wanting to be the other, like the slightly less gullible chumps. And so he's basically taking over all these platforms to sell pillows. Which, compared to what Trump did with Truth Social and Rumble and all that kind of stuff, it's way better business practice. Trump could have, I'm not kidding, if Trump had put Lindell in charge of Truth Social, he wouldn't have run anything. It would just been a mouth for it. But he would have gotten all the people who are taking advantage of him to take advantage of Trump as well. It would have actually still been on board. Now, granted, Frank's speech and Lindell TV both look like shit, but they function, unlike Truth Social. So there you go. That said, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I'm Hal Sparks, and you are Mega Worldwide. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing, liking, all that kind of stuff.